The deception. The vast emptiness of the Orion Arm stretched before Admiral Elena Torian as she stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant. The ship, like the rest of the human fleet surrounding it, looked decidedly unimpressive. Patches of mismatched hull plating covered its exterior, and its design appeared cobbled together from different engineering eras. Next to her, Commander Akira Nakamura monitored the long-range scanners, his normally calm demeanor betraying a hint of tension. "They're approaching, Admiral," he said quietly. "The Vexari Dominion fleet, 23 warships and what appears to be their flagship, the Indomitable Scale." "Right on schedule," Torian replied, her weathered face impassive. At 52, she had seen humanity crawl its way into space, survive first contact, and establish itself as a fledgling but determined presence in the galaxy. "Have they scanned us yet?" "Extensively. They've been probing our ships for the past 20 minutes. A thin smile played across Torian's lips. "Good, and our systems are responding as planned." "Yes, Admiral. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see." The plan had been 6 months in the making. Intelligence reports had painted a clear picture of the Vexari Dominion, an expanding coalition of 3 species that had conquered 12 systems in the past decade. Arrogant, technologically advanced, and utterly convinced of their superiority. The diplomatic conference they'd proposed was nothing but a pretext to assess Earth's defenses before deciding whether to assimilate or conquer. What the Vexari wouldn't understand was that humans had been underestimated before. They'd learned to use that to their advantage. "All ships, maintain formation and communications protocol," Torian ordered through the fleet-wide channel. "Remember, we look scared, we look outdated, but we stay put." The viewport displayed their fleet, 15 vessels of various sizes, all bearing the same artificially distressed appearance. To any outside observer, it looked like humanity had cobbled together whatever they could find to represent themselves at this historic meeting. The truth was far different. "They're hailing us, Admiral," announced Lieutenant Rivera from communications. On screen, the massive central display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of High Commander Zexvorn of the Vexari Dominion. Standing nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent scaled skin that shifted between deep blue and emerald green, the alien's 4 eyes blinked independently as they assessed the human bridge. "This is High Commander Zexvorn of the glorious Vexari Dominion." The translator converted the series of clicks and hisses into English. "We come with peaceful intentions to discuss humanity's place within our expanding alliance of civilizations." Torian stepped forward. "High Commander, I am Admiral Elena Torian of the United Earth Fleet. We welcome you to neutral space and look forward to productive discussions." All 4 of the Vexari's eyes narrowed simultaneously. "This collection of vessels is Earth's delegation. We expected a more substantial representation from a species seeking diplomatic relations." "We come with what we have, Commander," Torian replied with practiced humility. "Earth is still recovering from our internal conflicts. These ships represent our best efforts." A sound emerged from the Vexari that the translator didn't catch, but it was unmistakably laughter. Behind the High Commander, other Vexari officers were visibly amused. "Forgive my surprise, Admiral. We had heard humans were resourceful, but these vessels appear to be held together by—" The translator struggled for a moment. "Determination alone." "Appearances can be deceiving, Commander," Torian said evenly. Indeed, the Vexari's scales shifted to a brighter green, a sign of amusement their intelligence had identified. "We shall commence discussions in 6 Earth hours. Please prepare your representatives to board our flagship." The transmission ended abruptly. "They're buying it," Nakamura noted, relief evident in his voice. "Of course they are," Torian replied. "Pride is the universal weakness. Now let's see what else they do before the diplomatic talks begin." Over the next 3 hours, the Vexari fleet gradually repositioned itself, forming a loose encirclement of the human vessels. It wasn't overtly threatening, but the message was clear. They held the superior position. Meanwhile, the human ships maintained their haphazard formation, occasionally sending out unencrypted communications about fuel concerns, system failures, and crew anxiety. In her private ready room, Torian received regular updates from her intelligence team. "They've scanned us 14 times. Admiral," reported Commander Wylin, her chief of intelligence operations, each time focusing on different systems. "And they're seeing our little performance perfectly. Our facade systems are feeding them exactly what we want. Outdated fusion reactors, minimal weapons capacity, hull integrity at 63%, and communication systems from the early expansion era. They think we're barely holding these ships together. Have they tested us yet? Nothing direct. They've used targeted electromagnetic pulses to probe our shields, which appear to flicker exactly as ancient EM shields would. Their confidence is growing by the minute." Torian nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. "And what about their communications?" "Just as our intelligence suggested. Overconfident, minimal encryption. They're discussing whether Earth is even worth bringing into the Dominion versus simply taking our resources." "Perfect," Torian said. "And the special package?" Wei Lin's normally serious face broke into a smile. "Deployed and undetected, Admiral. Operation Looking Glass is fully active." Looking Glass was the culmination of human counterintelligence efforts, microscopic drones that had been released upon the Vexori's arrival. Too small to trigger conventional security systems, they were now attaching themselves to the Vexori ships, gathering data, mapping systems, and most importantly, preparing for what might come next. 4 hours into the waiting period, the tactical situation changed. The Vexori ships tightened their formation, moving into what was unmistakably an attack position. "They're not even trying to be subtle anymore," Nakamura observed as he studied the tactical display. "Their weapon systems are powering up." "It seems our diplomatic friends have made their decision," Torian replied. "All ships initiate Yellow Protocol. Maintain communications discipline, but prepare internal systems." Yellow Protocol, named after the warning coloration of Earth's deadliest insects, was the final preparation stage. Throughout the human fleet, crews quietly readied their ships' true capabilities while maintaining the external facade of outdated technology. When the first communication came, it wasn't a diplomatic message but a demand. Human vessels, High Commander Zexwarn's voice, carried none of the earlier diplomatic pretense. "Our scans have determined your fleet poses a contamination risk to this sector. Your outdated propulsion systems and reactor containment protocols fall well below Dominion safety standards." "High Commander," Torian responded with feigned concern. "We assure you our vessels meet all safety requirements established by the Galactic Concord." "The Concord holds no authority here," the Vexori interrupted. "The Dominion has determined that your vessels must be impounded and your crews transported to holding facilities until proper assessments can be made." Torian allowed herself to appear flustered. "Commander, this is highly irregular. We came for diplomatic discussions." "Those discussions will proceed once we've ensured the safety of this sector. You have 30 minutes to power down your vessels and prepare for boarding. Any resistance will be considered hostile action and dealt with accordingly." The transmission cut out abruptly. Nakamura looked at Torian. "They're not even trying to maintain the pretense anymore." "They don't think they need to," Torian replied. "Begin countdown to Red Protocol. I want everything ready in 28 minutes." Throughout the human fleet, crews worked with quiet efficiency, preparing for what was to come. On the surface, the ships appeared to be frantically communicating, power levels fluctuating as if systems were being hastily shut down in compliance with the Vexori demands. 29 minutes later, a small shuttle departed from the Defiant, heading toward the Vexori flagship. "Admiral," Nakamura said, surprise evident in his voice. "You're not actually going over there." "No," Torian replied. "That shuttle is remotely piloted. It's buying us the final few minutes we need." As the shuttle approached the Vexori flagship, The massive alien vessel opened fire without warning, vaporizing the small craft instantly. "So much for diplomacy," Torian said grimly. "All ships, Red Protocol. I repeat, Red Protocol active." Across the human fleet, the real transformation began. The patchy hull plating suddenly fused into seamless armor as advanced nanomaterials activated. Hidden weapon ports opened along previously innocuous sections of the ships. Propulsion system. When the Vexari weapons fired, they hit nothing but empty space. The human vessels seemed to shimmer and partly vanish, their true positions obscured by advanced holographic technology, combined with actual spatial distortion fields. "All ships, execute attack pattern Hydra," Torian commanded. "Remember, we're not here for total destruction. We need to demonstrate exactly what humanity is capable of." As the Vexari fleet struggled to recalibrate their systems, the human vessels moved with unexpected speed and precision. What had appeared to be a disorganized collection of outdated ships suddenly operated as a perfectly coordinated fighting force. The UES Defiant surged forward, its newly revealed weapons targeting the propulsion systems of the Vexari flagship with surgical precision. Other human vessels executed similar attacks on their designated targets, following the meticulously planned strategy. On the Vexari command ship, High Commander Zexvorn watched in disbelief as the supposedly inferior human fleet transformed before his eyes. "Impossible," he hissed. "Recalibrate all targeting systems. Launch fighter squadrons. I want those human vessels destroyed." But the Vexari were already fighting a battle they had lost before it began. Their overconfidence had led them directly into humanity's trap, and the consequences were about to become devastatingly clear. As the first disabled Vexari ships drifted helplessly in space, Admiral Torian opened a channel to the entire Dominion fleet. "High Commander, perhaps now would be a good time to reconsider those diplomatic talks. It seems we have much to discuss about humanity's place in the galaxy." The revelation. High Commander Zexvorn's scales had shifted to a pale blue, a color of distress among the Vexari. Around him, the command center of the indomitable scale descended into controlled chaos as officers frantically worked to restore their compromised systems. "Status report," he demanded, all four eyes fixed on the main tactical display where the human vessels had completely broken their encirclement in less than 10 minutes. "Primary weapons are operational, but targeting systems remain compromised," reported his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Trelvor. "7 of our support vessels have lost propulsion, and 3 destroyer-class ships report critical system failures." "How?" Zexvorn hissed, his tail lashing behind him in agitation. "How did they penetrate our security protocols?" Before anyone could answer, the communication system activated without command. The human admiral appeared on all screens throughout the ship. "High Commander," Admiral Torian said calmly, "I believe we've experienced a breakdown in our diplomatic discussions. Perhaps we should reset our expectations of one another." Zexvorn's crest flared in rage. "You deceived us. Those ships, they're not what they appeared to be." "No, they're not," Torian agreed with a slight nod. "Just as your diplomatic conference wasn't what it appeared to be. We simply matched deception with deception." "Restore weapons control," Zexvorn ordered his crew. "Launch all fighter squadrons." "I wouldn't recommend that," Torian said, her tone hardening. "Your remaining vessels are currently targeted by weapons you haven't even detected yet. This demonstration was meant to be surgical, a warning, not an extermination. Don't force our hand further." On the tactical display, Zexvorn watched as another of his cruisers suddenly lost power, its lights flickering out as it drifted helplessly in space. Whatever the humans were using, it was beyond anything Vexari intelligence had reported. "What do you want?" the High Commander finally asked, scales shifting to the mottled purple of strategic calculation. "What we've always wanted, genuine diplomatic talks. No subjugation, no assessment of Earth's value. Equal parties discussing mutual interests." Trelvor leaned close to the High Commander. Sir, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the human vessels. Their power output has tripled since they revealed their true capabilities, but our sensors can't identify the source. Zexvorn pondered his options. The Dominion had never faced such a rapid reversal in battle. The human deception had been masterful. Not just the disguised ships, but the entire performance of weakness and disarray. Most concerning was how thoroughly they had compromised Vexari systems. "How did you do it?" he asked, professional curiosity momentarily overriding his anger. "Our systems are isolated, our defenses layered." Admiral Torian's expression remained neutral. "Let's just say humanity learned long ago that bigger isn't always better, and the most dangerous predators aren't always the most visible. While you were scanning our hull plating and reactor signatures, you missed what was actually important." The small craft, Trelvor suddenly realized. The maintenance drones we detected around your ships when we arrived. They weren't drones at all. Microscopic infiltration technology. Torian confirmed. We found that species obsessed with displays of power often overlook the small things. Throughout the Vexari fleet, systems continued to fail in sequence. Not catastrophically. The humans were being precise, disabling rather than destroying. It was a calculated humiliation, demonstrating not just technological superiority but restraint. In a private channel, Trelvor addressed the High Commander. "Sir, we should consider a tactical withdrawal. The battle analysis algorithms suggest we've lost over 70% of our effective fighting capacity, and the humans appear to be targeting command and control systems rather than life support or critical hull integrity." "You suggest we flee?" Zexvorn hissed. "I suggest we live to fight another day," Trelvor responded, "and reconsider our assessment of human capabilities." On the main display, Admiral Torian waited patiently. "High Commander, I'm offering you an honorable resolution. Your crews remain unharmed, and most of your vessels can be restored to full functionality once we disengage our countermeasures. All we ask is that you acknowledge this encounter for what it was, a misunderstanding between potential allies, not enemies." The words were diplomatic, but the message was clear: submit or face worse consequences. Meanwhile, aboard the UES Defiant, Commander Nakamura monitored the status of the Vexari fleet. "They're powering down weapon systems on the remaining operational vessels, Admiral. I think they're standing down." "Good," Torian replied. "Maintain targeting solutions but hold fire. Let's see if the High Commander can swallow his pride." After nearly a minute of silence, Zexvorn's voice came through the communication link. "The Vexari Dominion acknowledges your demonstration of capability, Admiral. Perhaps we have misjudged humanity's place in the galactic order." "Perhaps you have," Torian agreed. "Which is why I propose a true diplomatic conference, one where both sides come with honest intentions. The Defiant will prepare to receive your diplomatic delegation in 2 hours. Just you and 2 advisors, High Commander. You expect me to board your vessel. After this deception, I expect you to recognize reality," Torian replied evenly. "Your vessels are disabled, your systems compromised. You can meet as equals now, or we can continue this demonstration until your entire fleet is adrift. The choice is yours, but I think we both know what the logical decision is." The communication ended, leaving Zexvorn to contemplate the reversal of fortune. In less than an hour, the Dominion's certainty about their technological superiority had been shattered. "Analysis," he demanded of his science officer. "Based on what we've observed, Commander, human technology appears to focus on integration and miniaturization rather than raw power. Our initial scans detected their disguised energy signatures because they wanted us to. The real technology, whatever it is, operates on principles our sensors weren't calibrated to detect. They knew we would come," Trelvor added. "They studied us, anticipated our tactics, and prepared specifically for this encounter." Zexvorn's scales shifted through various colors as he processed this information. "Prepare a diplomatic team. I will meet with the Admiral myself." 2 hours later, the High Commander and 2 senior advisors boarded a small shuttle bound for the human flagship. As they approached, the true nature of the UES Defiant became apparent. What had appeared to be a patchwork of mismatched hull plates was now a seamless, darkly gleaming surface. No external weapons were visible, but subtle distortions in space around the vessel suggested defensive systems beyond Vexari understanding. When they docked and were escorted to the bridge, Zex Vorn found himself reassessing everything he thought he knew about humans. The ship's interior was sleek, efficient, and unmistakably advanced. Crew members moved with practiced precision, their technology integrated so smoothly it was often difficult to tell where the ship ended and their equipment began. Admiral Torian greeted them formally. "Welcome aboard the Defiant, High Commander. I trust your shuttle journey was comfortable." "It was adequate," Zex Vorn replied stiffly. "Though I admit I am curious about the technology that so thoroughly defeated our systems." "All in good time," Torian said, gesturing toward a conference room adjacent to the bridge. "First, let's discuss what true diplomacy between our peoples might look like." As they walked, Zex Vorn noticed something unexpected. Human crew members of widely varying ages, physical capabilities, and apparent specialties. Unlike the Vexari, who selected only the strongest and most physically perfect specimens for space duty, the humans seemed to value diversity in their personnel. In the conference room, Torian took her seat across from the Vexari delegation. "I'll be direct, High Commander. Humanity has been aware of the Vexari Dominion's expansion patterns for some time. We know about the 12 systems you've conquered in the past decade, and we've studied how you operate." "Research," Zex Vorn noted. "You came prepared." "We always do," Torian replied. "It's how a lesser species survives in a galaxy full of older, supposedly more advanced civilizations. We watch, we learn, and we adapt. The Vexari rely on overwhelming force and technological intimidation. We've developed alternatives." One of Zex Vorn's advisors, Science Director Nexlar, spoke up. "Your miniaturization technology. The infiltration systems that compromised our vessels. How did you develop such capabilities when your public technological profile suggests you're barely beyond planetary defense systems?" Torian smiled. "The same way we created those rust bucket disguises. Humanity learned early in our development that appearing too advanced too quickly makes you a target. So we compartmentalized. What we show the galaxy is carefully curated, enough to earn a seat at the table, not enough to be considered a threat. Until someone threatens you," Zex Vorn observed. "Precisely. Earth has a long history of underestimated species rising to dominance not through brute strength, but through adaptability. The galaxy sees what it expects to see. A young, struggling spacefaring race trying to find its place. What it doesn't see is our true focus on adaptive systems, infiltration technology, and defensive innovations." "And now," asked Trelvor, "now that we know your true capabilities." "Now we have two choices," Torian said, leaning forward. "We can become locked in a cycle of escalation and conflict, which benefits neither of our peoples, or we can forge a genuine alliance based on mutual respect and complementary strengths." Zex Vorn considered this. The Dominion had never regarded any species as truly equal. It was conquer or be conquered, absorb or destroy. But the humans had demonstrated not just technological parity, but a strategic thinking that had completely outmaneuvered Vexari doctrine. "What does humanity want from such an alliance?" he finally asked. "Access to stable trade routes through Vexari space, non-aggression guarantees for our colony worlds, and exchange of knowledge in specific technological domains. We are particularly interested in your bioengineering advances. And in return, we share certain defensive technologies, not our most advanced systems, but enough to strengthen your borders against common threats. We provide navigational data for regions of space the Dominion hasn't fully explored, and we become a bridge between the Dominion and other human-allied species that currently avoid contact with you. It was a calculated offer, valuable enough to be tempting, limited enough to protect human interests. Zexvorn recognized the skilled diplomacy behind it. The Dominion Council will need to ratify any agreement, he said cautiously. Of course, and I'm authorized only to establish preliminary terms, Torian replied. But I think we both understand that the relationship between our species has fundamentally changed today. As they continued their discussions, activity around the human fleet had returned to normal. The disabled Vexari vessels were gradually regaining control of their systems as the human countermeasures withdrew. Both sides maintained vigilance, but the immediate threat of conflict had passed. Several hours later, as the Vexari delegation prepared to return to their ship, High Commander Zexvorn paused before boarding the shuttle. One question, Admiral. Those ships of yours, they were never actually outdated, were they? The whole appearance was fabricated. Torian smiled. Let's just say that humanity learned long ago that perception is a powerful weapon, High Commander. We found it's often advantageous to be underestimated, right up until the moment it isn't. As the shuttle departed, Zexvorn watched the human fleet through the viewport. What had once appeared to be a collection of space junk now revealed itself as one of the most formidable forces he had encountered in his long career. The Dominion would need to reassess everything they thought they knew about humanity and their place in the galactic order. Back on the Defiance Bridge, Commander Nakamura joined Admiral Torian at the viewport. Do you think they'll honor whatever agreement comes from this, Admiral? They will for now, Torian replied. The Vexari respect strength above all else. We've earned that respect today. And when they try to adapt to our technology, study our methods. Torian smiled. Then we'll reveal the next layer of deception, Commander. After all, what they saw today wasn't everything we have, just everything we needed them to see. As the Vexari fleet regrouped and prepared to depart, a message came through on a private channel to Admiral Torian's station. It was from High Commander Zexvorn, encoded for her eyes only. Well played, Admiral, it read. The Dominion will remember that appearances can indeed be deceiving, especially when it comes to humans. Torian didn't reply, but as the Vexari ships activated their jump drives and disappeared into the darkness of space, she allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Humanity had secured its place in the galaxy not through overwhelming force or technological intimidation, but through intelligence, strategy, and the careful cultivation of underestimation. It was a lesson the Vexari, and soon the rest of the galaxy, would not forget.